Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer is back with another video for the Warships, and in this video I'm gonna be featuring the German coal aircraft carrier, the Max Immelmann. And is it really worth it to spend your hard-earned coal in this aircraft carrier if you are thinking of buying it or maybe considering it in your port? Well, honestly, it's an absolute insane damage farmer. Like, you do have the skip HE bombs. You can see, like, these planes are fast, 240 knots of speed with my build, and then you can just do pretty decent damage. I think slightly more than 11k damage with these skip bombs. And if you can set fires with your skip, then you can just set and again a fire, which you will see here what I have said. Okay, 14.5k damage that you can do on a single drop. That's probably insane, right? And you have seen what I have done to that Satsuma. Now this is the playstyle that the Max Immelmann has. Ability to use these skip bombers, try to get out of their AA as fast as possible, because once you use the skips, you basically don't get into their main 3.5k, I would say, kilometer aura for a very long time. You try to just avoid it, which is the most powerful aura for every ship in the game, and you just basically try to bypass it with skip bombs. And then you set fires, like I did in that case, onto the Satsuma, deal raw penetration damage, especially if you do have like the upper belt that is very thin. That's where the Max Immelmann 67 or 68 millimeter HE bomb pen will just shine, and you can just do massive damage. And then you do have these torpedo bombers that I just pretty much, find them not bad, but not super good. They're good maybe to set floods onto a battleship that have used a DCP, and you can just go to a target very quickly. But the HE skip bombs are the bread and butter of the ship. Now, honestly, the reason why I would say Max Immelmann is worth it, especially in these updates, or at least now, because Wargaming has changed some of the things about the aircraft carrier. They do have changed the spotting of the CVs, but also they have introduced that you have only 20 seconds of DCP, okay? And once that DCP runs out, sorry, not 20, sorry, 30 seconds. 30 seconds of DCP for the carriers. That is the special DCP that they have given to carriers. After that 30 seconds runs out, then you are extremely vulnerable to get set on fire permanently, and that permanent fire will stick for 45 seconds, resulting in you losing in a carrier 13.5% of your HP in a single permanent fire. Which, honestly, if you're using Max Immelmann, you can bypass and look at the damage that I have done to Des Moines. All 4 penetration on the bombs. If you do perfect aim onto the cruisers, anything that has upper belt of 30 millimeter till like 60 millimeter, not more than that, you will just simply pen it, do raw damage, and then set fires. In this case, I think I did not manage to get a fire on Des Moines. But notice how you can rack up damage quickly. Like, if you're just consistently trying to farm the battleships, you can just do way more damage. You can be so annoying, but again, remember that you have to kill him. If you don't kill him, trying to just set fires, trying to just rack up damage, they can just heal back all of it, because the fires and flood damage is 100% healable. Something that kind of reduces the game impact if you are not killing them, okay? If you're not killing them, then I kind of say that I don't know why then you're doing this sort of game. You can do that if you want to rack up and farm damage. Sure, you can do that, but honestly, you want to kill a battleship. If you want to keep consistently finding an isolated battleship, you just go and drop him again and then again. These skip bombs are just terrifying, to be honest. And you have seen that I got a flood on Montana. I got, randomly 2 tops on the Audacious. I was just sending my torpedo bombers to just utilized in their last squad or the last attack flight, and now I can just come back quickly, close the distance to my target because of this insane speed, and then I can just set a permanent fire onto the Montana, because the DCP of the Montana should run out. And you can see here that he's isolated, perfect target, and its upper belt is also like 38 millimeter, so perfect target to just get a full pens onto that. Look at that, you see that? That's a full pen onto the Montana, and I'm just racking crazy damage in a short time. Only 6 minutes in the game, getting permanent fire, and I got also his engine somehow, and yeah, I bypassed the 3.5 kilometer aura, and I just get 2 drops perfectly. And in this case, you can see here, I got another fire 9k. So yeah, that Montana was pretty much slightly more than half HP, and I just chunked him, and I get another fire upon fire. Yeah, this is the power of the Max Immelmann. Killing, brutalize, like literally brutally killing battleships. And this scenario is not an easy one. This honestly requires a bit of a skill. Because the torpedo bombers are not so good. The skip HE bombers are good, but it requires a destroyer to be not a good player, because they can be very easily dodgeable. But if you can make a crossfire, then you can make them work, the HE skip bomber, and they do deal a lot of damage. Without a shadow doubt, that can be pretty terrifying, right? In this case, this Alvaro de Bazan, he's just trying to dodge the tops, and he's just eating them, and then he's just trying to dodge them, not working for him. So, you know, that's the funny part. He just kind of smoke up now because I'm just harassing him on a very brutal level. And funny enough that he will just I think gonna eat another top, as you have seen, and eventually Venezia will kill him. Unfortunately, yes, you can do that shenanigans with the Max Immelmann, but still I would say, even though it's good against battleships, cruisers, especially heavy cruisers and battleships, it's very good. Then cruisers, obviously they can maneuver and just turn in and out, and since your dropping pattern on Max Immelmann relies on ships broadsiding you, you do the best when everything broadsides you. That's the thing, that if enemy team does not trying to give you that lucrative broadside, then your bombs will not gonna be having a full hit, 100% hit rate that you want in a Max Immelmann, especially when you're using skip bombers or even torpedo bomber. Now in this case, I think I slightly misaimed, or maybe I was trying to focus on the upper belt so hard that one of the skip kinda jumped over the bow of the Los Andes, resulting in me only getting 3 penetrations. So something that you have to precisely aim onto the Max Immelmann, or at least using Max Immelmann HE skip bombs. But man, these skip bombs are terrifying. You can just use them. You can rack up really good damage in a short time, especially if you use to farm them against battleships and then farm dot damage or damage over time onto these targets. Again, the game impact of the Max Immelmann really relies on just quickly killing a battleship and finding out a situation where you can just mess up the crews, especially if the cruisers are behind the island. Like in this case, there's a Des Moines and Los Andes. These are the perfect targets. Find out the isolated battleship first, if you can, and if not, find out the target. Like in this situation, like in this case, where's the Des Moines gonna go? He is thinking to use the island, which perfectly makes sense, but what he's gonna do here, right? You just have superior advantage. Like, I'm just gonna get the torpedoes and he's dead. Now in this case, since I was already in the Alsace, I would say entire, so I decided to just utilize it fully. These torpedo bombers, just throw them. Maybe I get 1 torpedo hit, which I think I might, but he dodged it anyway. But again, the same thing, utilize, find out the target. An isolated target is the best, and then you can just rack up so much damage, honestly. And it's an amazing thing against CV sniping. I talked about that you can have a very having like 3 or 2 fires onto a carrier. Permanent fires with the Max Immelmann is definitely possible. You can go and strike them 2 times. If it does not put fighter on top of himself, right? If it does not put fighters, and if you do able to bypass those fighters, I mean, you have to really learn and practice that how you can bypass the fighters if you are using the first attack flight of the skip HE bombers, right? If you do understand what I meant by that, if you have learned this thing, then you will soon realize that you can just get 2 drops. 1 drop, then you just let the DCP run with the fire, and then the second drop once the DCP runs out, and then you can do it within a matter of 40 seconds. And then you just do like crazy fire damage onto a carrier, which you cannot use to do that. You used to only deal like 5% of his HP with a single fire, but now it's 13%, or at least maybe less if you're using the fire flag, because carriers can use the fire flag, reducing the fire duration. So, but still, it's gonna be roughly around 10% regardless. So 2 fires, 20% damage, and raw penetration damage onto the broadside carrier is just crazy, right? I mean, 14.5k, you have already seen that raw penetration damage with 4 bombs will be like that. And you can do like potentially maybe 25k with 2 times hitting onto the carrier. And you just deal a lot of damage with this against carriers, against battleships, cruiser. It's just so good in this. Your secondaries are also decent. Okay, but I mean, you have to fully build it for that way to make them work. But most of the time, if you position yourself well, and if you realizing that the destroyer is coming, you try to just, you know, harass him with these HE skip bombers. Although it's not easy, the enemy team can, or at least the destroyers can definitely dodge them. It's not like the easiest thing to do. But here, your primary targets should be the battleships. The destroyers only in the like good opportunity. Like in this case, as you can see, again dealing pretty good damage. The only, I think, they're able to shut down a single plane because of this these fast planes, and then ability to bypass that 3.5 kilometer aura very soon and quickly makes it pretty good for that. Now in this case, as you can see, that Los Angeles is just pushing pretty crazily, and the game is about to end. Our team does not even think of pushing. Our DDs struggled. They have already this huge advantage of the caps for a long time, and that's why if this game would have lasted a bit longer, maybe it would change the tide of the game. But our positioning was really bad, and once everyone shoots me from the broadside on the left area on the 10 line, I eventually died. But again, dealing pretty high damage at the end make me showcasing you this replay, and shows you also that how powerful Max Immelmann really is to deal damage in a very short time as well. So 209k damage, sorry, 229k damage, and you know, torpedoes are average. Honestly, they can get a flood, but the star of the show is the HE skip bombers. They will do massive damage. Find out a target and you will just ham on him. Like, these are really good only if you find broadsides. Like, this is the key part of making Max Immelmann work. And then obviously in a loss, I still managed to get 1.3k base XP almost. Our team did nothing. Some of the battleships, super battleship and a pretty decent battleship Victoria struggles to even match like 600 base XP. They didn't able to get that much base XP. That's crazy. Like how bad the teams really are nowadays in randoms, man. But anyways, this is the game. Want to showcase you how good this carry really is, how powerful it is in sniping as well. So yeah, take care guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.